Periva Sharanam. Today we are going to learn the 9th sloka of Soundarya Lahari. As usual, we will recite slokas from 6 to 8 and then learn the 9th shloka.
धनुः पौष्पं मौर्वी मधुकरमयी पञ्चविशिखाः वसन्तः सामन्तो मलयमरुदायो धनरथः तथाप्येकः सर्वं हिमगिरिसुते कामपि कृपाम् अपाङ्गात्ते लब्ध्वा जगदिदमनङ्गो विजयते क्वणत्काञ्चीदामा करिकलभकुम्भस्तननता परिक्षीणा मध्ये परिणतशरच्चन्द्रवदना धनुर्बाणान् पाशं सृणिमपि दधाना करतलैः पुरस्तादास्तां नः पुरमथितुराहो पुरुषिका सुधासिन्धोर्मध्ये सुरविटपिवाटी परिवृते मणिद्वीपे नीपोपवनवति चिन्तामणिगृहे शिवाकारे मञ्चे परमशिवपर्यङ्कनिलयाम् भजन्ति त्वां धन्याः कतिचन चिदानन्दलहरीम्.
A few things to remember when learning this 9th shloka are: in the first line, the first word, Mahim Mooladhare. Here in Mahim, there is a im that is included, and be sure to pronounce that im while saying the shloka. Same way, many of us have the habit of pronouncing ka as gha. So, kamapi manipure, not gamapi manipure. In the second line, it is titham swadhishthane. Here, the first tha and the second tha are used. That is, the first tha is tha and second tha is pronounced as tha. So, both the thas are there in this word. So, please take a note of it while reciting the sloka. Third line, Manopi Brumadhye. After Mano, you should give an extra matra because it is a avagraham there. We have to pronounce it as Manopi Brumadhye. In the same line, the last word, Kulapatham. There also the tha is second tha. So, most of us have the practice of saying it as Kulapadam. It is not Kulapadam, it is Kulapatham. With all these small things in our mind, we will go to the learning of the 9th shloka.
Mahim Mooladhare Mahim Mooladhare Mahim Mooladhare Kamapi Manipure Hutavaham Kamapi Manipure Hutavaham Kamapi Manipure Hutavaham Sthitam Swadhishthane Sthitam Swadhishthane Sthitam Swadhishthane Hridi Marutamākāśamupari हृदि मरुतमाकाशमुपरि हृदि मरुतमाकाशमुपरि
मनोऽपि भ्रूमध्ये
मनोऽपि भ्रूमध्ये मनोऽपि भ्रूमध्ये
सकलमपि भित्त्वा कुलपथम्
सकलमपि भित्त्वा कुलपथम् सकलमपि भित्त्वा कुलपथम्
सहस्रारे पद्मे
सहस्रारे पद्मे सहस्रारे पद्मे
सहरहसि पत्या विहरसे
सहरहसि पत्या विहरसे सहरहसि पत्या विहरसे
महीं मूलाधारे कमपि मणिपूरे हुतवहं स्थितं स्वाधिष्ठाने हृदि मरुतमाकाशमुपरि
महीमूलाधारे कमपि मणिपूरे हुतवहम् स्थितं स्वाधिष्ठाने हृदि मरुतमाकाशमुपरि महीमूलाधारे कमपि मणिपूरे हुतवहम् स्थितं स्वाधिष्ठाने हृदि मरुतमाकाशमुपरि
मनोऽपि भ्रूमध्ये सकलमपि भित्त्वा कुलपथम् सहस्रारे पद्मे सहरहसि पत्या विहरसे
मनोऽपि भ्रूमध्ये सकलमपि भित्त्वा कुलपथम् सहस्रारे पद्मे
सहरहसि पत्या विहरसे
मनोऽपि भ्रूमध्ये सकलमपि भित्त्वा कुलपथम् सहस्रारे पद्मे सहरहसि पत्या विहरसे
महीं मूलाधारे कमपि मणिपूरे हुतवहं स्थितं स्वाधिष्ठाने हृदि मरुतमाकाशमुपरि मनोऽपि भ्रूमध्ये सकलमपि भित्त्वा कुलपथम् सहस्रारे पद्मे सहरहसि पत्या विहरसे
महीमूलाधारे कमपि मणिपूरे हुतवहम् स्थितं स्वाधिष्ठाने हृदि मरुतमाकाशमुपरि मनोऽपि भ्रूमध्ये सकलमपि भित्त्वा कुलपथम् सहस्रारे पद्मे सहरहसि पत्या विहरसे महीमूलाधारे कमपि मणिपूरे हुतवहम् स्थितं स्वाधिष्ठाने हृदि मरुतमाकाशमुपरि मनोऽपि भ्रूमध्ये सकलमपि भित्त्वा कुलपथम् सहस्रारे पद्मे सहरहसि पत्या विहरसे.
One important point to all of you who are new subscribers or who are listening to this for the first time That is, if you are listening to this ninth shloka's meaning for the first time without learning the first 8 shlokas of Soundarya Lahari, we request you to go and learn and listen to the shloka explanations of the previous 1 to 8 shlokas and then come back to listen to this shloka explanation. We say this because Acharyal in these first shlokas gives the greatness, the power, the extent of Ambal's compassion, her varnanai, then her place of residence, and then later on he comes to this topic. The topic that we are going to deal in this sloka is such that if you don't have the understanding from the previous shlokas, it is of not much use and even it is of more misuse only. This topic is not something that we get to straight first. It is not because this topic is a very complex one, but it is a very risky one. What is that kind of a topic that we are going to discuss? What has Acharya discussed in that shloka? It is about the Kundalini Yoga Shastra. Even going forward, some of the other shlokas will also have some principles pertaining to this Kundalini Yoga Shastra. In these type of shlokas, there is a condition where we are unable to give a very detailed explanation about all these principles. But we have tried to the extent possible of what is required for our understanding to a broader level, but not an in-depth one. We will not be definitely giving any explanations that you should only know and learn from a guru directly. But for our knowledge and broader understanding of the concept, we will give explanations to some of the terms within limits. It is because even when Periyava explains about the shlokam and about Kundalini Yogam, he cautions us to not go into these practices, especially without proper guidance from a guru. This is not to be taken lightly like any other yoga practice, and do not enter into these subjects just for the fun and sake of doing it. Some people want to try new things and they just feel this to be a very interesting topic and go into such practices. And this is not advisable in this case. Periyava warns us against these yogic practices in many places. This Kundalini Yogam seems to some people like it is very miraculous, astonishing, exciting. But if you ask, will we be able to really feel it or achieve it, is a question that cannot be answered. Most likely, we would have experienced or felt this maybe a few times even without knowing or realizing that it is the awakened state of Kundalini. But definitely everyone would have experienced some or the other time in our lifetime. This is one way of experiencing this awakening of the Kundalini Yoga even without a person's knowledge, even without he knowing that it is the awakened state of Kundalini. But there are also other ways where a person can experience knowingly and with full consciousness the awakened state of Kundalini and its highest peak state of realization when it is achieved. Those are only very, very few people who are yogis who have achieved this in this world. These are those very few numbered people who have been able to control all their senses and realize the highest stage of the awakened Kundalini when they are still in their consciousness and with full knowledge and experience it being fully aware. Those people are the Mahans who are always immersed in Ananda or bliss, even when there are so many things disturbing going outside around them in their surroundings. They don't get affected at all by any of these external factors that are going around, and they are able to enjoy that bliss within them. But does that mean that these Mahans have achieved this stage only by yogic practices, just like doing pranayamam and different types of breathing practices, which we see nowadays? Then Periyava himself answers it by saying it is not necessarily so. He says it because in Bhakti Marga also, if we keep our unwavering faith and do all our pujas and show devotion to Ambal, at the highest point of that bhakti, one will get to experience this bliss or Anandam as a blessing from her itself. In Tamil Nadu, there was a jnani called Jnana Sambandar who has given many songs on Lord Shiva. In one of his songs, he says, Kadalahi Kasindu Kannir Malgi, which means the love towards you, that is Lord Shiva, that comes out as tears. It is the joyful or blissful tears or tears that we get when we experience when we are in height of a elated or ecstatic emotion. This joy or happiness goes out of control, or it goes to a level that it becomes something that cannot be contained at all, and it comes in the form of tears. We may wonder, can you kindle or instigate that kind of an ecstatic feeling from outside? The answer is no. You can say we can get tears even when we yawn, but that is different. Do we get to feel happiness when we yawn? But when we are sad, we are able to bring about those tears in our eyes. This human world, everyone has something to feel sad about. All have their troubles and problems. It might differ in degree from one person to another, but everyone will have some problem. So if we keep thinking just about our problems or troubles and worries and multiply it in our mind, we can at one point start to feel pity about ourselves and start to cry. But is the opposite of it true? Can we think about only all the happiness that we get and multiply it? It is a big question mark. We can remember all the bad things, even small bad things that happen to us for a very, very long time in our lifetimes. But we tend to forget the good things that we get very easily, and we remember it only for a short period of time. So this makes us to conclude that if there is something that makes you feel happy, then it is something outside of us and it cannot be created inside within us. We search for happiness on outside things only, and that is the work of Maya. Acharya says, in reality, all living forms in this prapancha are fully filled up with ananda or bliss or joy. Just that we all don't realize this. So our real state of living is actually Anandam, but we don't realize it, and so we feel that we are always in trouble or unhappy. When we realize what our real self is, what is our real state of living is, that is when we get that tears of joy, the tears that we get due to our real true self realization. That realization is achieved by this Kundalini Yogam, where the Kundalini is awakened and transported to the highest state of realization. So, as normal human beings, we all would have experienced this kind of Kundalini awakening when we are extremely happy. We would have had tears of joy, or we can also see a few people fainting when they hear something which they consider to be giving them that extreme happiness. Why does this happen? It is because Kundalini awakens from its resting place and reaches to the highest point very suddenly. They are not able to bear that sudden sprout of that energy and they faint. So in many cases, even without any effort from our side, like doing a very difficult yogic practices, pranayamam, etc., Kundalini gets awakened and keeps moving from one place to other. All this can happen only with her grace and power, and therefore, instead of resorting to all these practices, it is better to tightly hold the lotus feet of Ambal to get that realization itself. We need not be worried about how long we have to hold the breath, how to leave it, etc. But just tightly holding her feet, she will bless all of us with these experiences. And that is the faith which is of paramount importance even before we start to understand this shloka. Now, few people might not know what is Kundalini. We will just give a few details about it before we start. Kundalam is a earring. We even say Vishnu wearing Makara Kundalam. So a round or a ring-shaped object can be called as Kundalam. The Shakti or energy that is in the form or shape of a Kundalam, and hence it is called as Kundalini. Where is this Shakti present? Can you see it? Can you feel it? First, you cannot see it. Second, can you feel it? Yes, you can feel it, and that is what we have been saying all along. Now the position. The position of this Shakti is given as the Mooladharam, which is the end point of the spinal cord. Why it is called Mooladharam? Because it is the foundation spot of that Shakti or energy, Moola Adharam. In that place or spot, the chakra called Mooladharam, it is found. The chakra is represented as a lotus. Whether there is a lotus inside our body will be the next question. Maybe we cannot see it with our naked eyes, but with Sukshma Drishti, we can say or feel that it is a lotus. We can remember that in the previous shloka, Acharya gives the Vasasthalam of Ambal, that is the place of residence of Ambal, and here he says the Mooladhara Chakra is actually the place where Ambal resides in a hidden form. A place where Ambal resides in secret form. So Ambal in this hidden form in the Mooladhara Chakra is in the shape of a serpent which is coiled like a ring and there are 3.5 rings to that coil. Generally, even humans also coil ourselves when we sleep. We can find that when we have done a lot of very tiring, exhausting work, we keep our hands and feet spread open and we sleep. We don't mind how we are sleeping, etc. But if we are just resting, then we sleep in a very nice, rounded or coiled position. We can also find other living things like cats and dogs in this coiled up position when they are resting. But a snake will always be in this position. It is its natural position. So, this Shakti or Ambal in the form of a 3.5 feet coiled serpent is resting in the Mooladhara chakra. This is the first chakra, and starting from there, through the Sushumna Nadi, it goes up. This Nadi is a channel through which energy can flow within our body. By various procedures of the Kundalini Yogam, through this Nadi, this energy is slowly brought up. There are 6 basic chakras, Shat Chakram. From Mooladharam, next is Swadhishthanam, Manipurakam, Anahatam, Vishuddhi, Agnya. After these 6 chakras are crossed, then there is the final chakra called as Sahasraram. It is depicted as a 1,000-petal lotus in the middle of our head. So, total there are 7 chakras, where the 6 are the base and the final one is the Sahasraram, and that is the highest point of the Shakti and final one. These are the basic concepts of Kundalini, which is resting or dormant in the Mooladhara Chakram. From here, it is first awakened, and then through various kriyas, yogams and practices, it is slowly made to rise and reach the next chakras. It is indeed a very difficult task to achieve it and requires a lot of practice and tapas and various restrictions. And then when all the chakras are reached, finally the energy is led to the Sahasrara chakra and made to rest there. That is the stage where this yogic science says Amritam or nectar flows. How do we see this nectar being created and flowing in Bhakti Bhava? Here, Kundalini Shakti is Ambal herself. When we take this Ambal from Mooladhara Chakra to the Sahasrara Chakram, in Sahasrara Chakram, it is said that Parameshwara is there, his lotus feet is there. And when we take her there, we merge Ambal and Parameshwara there in that chakra, and we witness the Shiva Shakti Aikya Swarupa of the divine form. And so Ambal showers the Amrita Dharai from there, and it is not just any Amritam, it is the Amritam of Jnanam which flows within us. We generally say a full moon's rays is filled with Amritam and it showers it on a Paurnami night. The same way, Ambal's lotus feet is like the full moon and it showers Amritam within the person who does this task of breaking through all the chakras and finally placing this Shakti in Sahasrara Padmam. He gets to immerse in that Amrita and achieves the life even beyond death. We have to warn everyone here again, as these procedures though have been given by our Shastras and is true, it is not wise to indulge in them, as in today's world there have been a lot of places that call themselves to help people to achieve or realize these Kundalini yogic practices, and it is better not to fall in these traps as they generally have inadequate knowledge about the full procedures. This is not a very easy practice, and it is a science which is like walking on fire or knife. And even a very minute mistake can lead to a person becoming mad or paralyzed for his rest of his life. Periyava has provided warnings time and again in various places against these practices. It is because of the high risk involved. The general understanding of the Kundalini Yogam to this extent is enough, and we should stop our search of it with this. Now, before we go into the meaning of this Soundarya Lahari sloka, we will give a few namas from Lalita Sahasranamam that you can relate to with the sloka. Mooladharaika Nilaya, the one who is residing in Mooladhara Chakram. Next is Brahma Granthi Vibhedini. When she rises from the Mooladhara Chakram, she breaks the Brahma Granthi or a knot. Granthi is generally a knot and goes up. Then the following namas are also about these chakras only. Manipuranta Rudita Vishnu Granthi Vibhedini, Agnya Chakrantaralastha Rudra Granthi Vibhedini, etc. After she rises from all these chakrams, then finally she reaches the Sahasrara Padma, which is given as Sahasrarambujarudha Sudhasarabhivarshini. In Sahasrara Padmam, when she alights there, she showers with nectar or amritam, Sudha. The next nama says Tatillata Samurchihi Shatchakropari Samstitha. So she is the one who is present in all the Shatchakrams, is what these namas imply. There is one interesting perspective that Periyava gives us. When we say a serpent is sleeping or resting inside our body in the Mooladhara Chakra, don't we have to give some ahara or food to it? Then how will it survive? Periyava says that a snake has a name called Pavanashanam. Pavana is air. Ash is the root which says or has the meaning to eat. So, Pavanasha means a thing that lives only by eating air. So, it is a derived name due to a reason. So, this snake which is there in the Mooladhara Chakra is living only on air. The air that we breathe in. So, with proper training or breathing practices and with good intention, we can regulate this air that it is living on and slowly awaken and then make it rise and then lead it to the Sahasrara Chakra, which is done to attain the ultimate Jnanam. But it is always better to go through the Bhakti Bhavam, and we will understand this shloka also from this Bhakti Bhavam itself now. Here in this shloka, the 6 chakras that we mentioned so far is given a rupam or is identified with the Panchabhutams and with our manas, that is our mind. Panchabhutams are 5 in number. Adding to that, our manas, it becomes the 6th. They are identified with the 6 chakras respectively, and then how it finally reaches the Sahasrara Chakram. Now let us go word by word of the shloka. Mahim Mooladhare Kamapi Manipure Hutavaham. Mahim is a word that we even see in Lalita Sahasranamam. Kulotirna Bhagaradhya Maya Madhumati Mahi. The same Mahi is used here. It means earth or Bhumi. It is a Panchabhutam. Mahim Mooladhare. So in this Mooladhara Chakra, Ambal is in the form of earth or in earth Tattvam. Next words are Kamapi Manipure. Kamapi, kam is water. Manipure denotes the Manipuraka Chakram. In Manipuraka Chakram, Ambal is as water Tattvam. The next one is Hutavaham Sthitham Swadhishthane. In the Swadhisthana Chakram, Sthitham, she is present as. What is she present as? That is given as Hutavaham. Hutavaham means fire. So now we have 3 chakras that is identified with 3 Panchabhutas. The Mooladhara Chakra with Earth Tattva, then Manipuraka Chakra with Water Tattva, Swadhisthana Chakra with Fire Tattva. The next words are Hridi Marutam Akasham Upari. How can we split this? Hridim plus Arutam and Akasham plus Upari. Hridim means heart. Marutam is wind. Even in one of the other shlokas, we were mentioning about the Manmatha's vehicle, Malaya Marudayodhana Rathaha. The same Marudam that is mentioned there. Here also that is the same. So Marut means wind. In the chakra which denotes the heart, she is as the tattva of air or wind. It is the Anahata Chakram. The next is Akasham plus Upari. Upari means something extra, something that we get more than what was actually expected. So Upari means extra or on top of something. What does it mean here in the shloka? Above the Anahata Chakram, that is Vishuddhi Chakram, she is as Akasha Tattvam. Akasham Upari. Above this Anahata Chakram, in Vishuddhi Chakram, she is as Akasha Tattvam. Now 5 Panchabhutas are over. These have been connected with the 5 chakras. Let us go to the third line now. Manopi Bhrumadhye. Bhrumadhye. Bhru is the eyebrow. Madhye is in the middle. So Bhrumadhye means in the middle of the eyebrows. Manaha api. You are in the form of Manas Tattvam, in the middle of the eyebrows. This is the 6th chakra called Agnya. Why it is called Agnya? The controlling power is there in that chakra. Someone is able to activate that chakra, that person will be able to control the other person and give him orders. So it is the chakra which denotes the power center of a person. That is why it is generally believed that the middle of the eyebrows should not be empty always. As a mark of Shakti Swarupam, either we can have Kumkum there or Parameshwara Swarupam, we can have Vibhuti or Bhasma, and it is not advisable to leave it empty because it is the place where someone can control you if they get a hold of you. So, it is better to keep something there. It is a very important chakra as it denotes command or order. In that chakra, Ambal is in the Manas Tattvam. Now, after telling all these chakras, Acharya says, Sakalamapi Bhitva Kulapatham. Bhitva means breaking open with a lot of force. Just comes out with a lot of force. No, you are breaking open a prison and you are coming out. That kind of a forceful entry. Sakalamapi, even everything. Whatever we were saying in the previous lines, all those 6 chakras are broken open forcefully. Sakalamapi bhitva kulapatham. Kulapatham can also be called as Kulamargam. The Shakti which is residing in the form of Kundalini through this Kulapatham or Kulamargam, a way, rises or reaches the Sahasrara Padmam. In Lalita Sahasranamam also, we can see that it calls out Ambal as Kulayogini, Kulantastha, Kulottirna, Kulasanketa Palini. You can say it is only through her. She is herself the way for reaching above all these chakras. That is why Lalita Sahasranam calls her Kuleshwari. The next line is Sahasrare Padme Saharahasi Patya Viharase. Sahasrare Padme. Padme is lotus. Some people pronounce this as Badmam. It is Pa. Sahasrare. Sahasra is 1000 petals. Padmam is lotus. So the 7th chakra is the Sahasrara Padmam, where Saharahasi Patya Viharase. Viharase means to play. You are playing with Patya, with your Pati or husband. Who is that? It is Parameshwara or Kameshwara. How? Rahasya, in secrecy. It is to be read as Patya Saha Rahasi Viharase. After breaking through all these 6 chakras, Ambal is joined or merged with her husband. She plays and enjoys with him in secrecy. Now, if we have to give the meaning of the whole shloka together, the Kundalini Shakti, which is found resting in the Mooladhara Chakram, awakens and arises, goes through the 6 chakras and finally reaches the 7th chakra, where it merges with Parameshwara, secretively plays with him and showers that bhakta with Amritam or Anandam. We can say that all the things that are happening in this world is only a play for Ambal. But there in the Sahasrara Padmam, she plays with her husband in secrecy. This is a shloka with very deep and inner meanings and interpretations. But as told earlier, because it involves very risky yogic shastras, we will be explaining only to this extent for the general public. Let us see the next shloka on Friday. Periyava Sharanam.